Hello and welcome to the Bilgecast Wrestling Podcast with me, Ollie Johnson, and I'm here with Sam Congrave and Ian Burrows. How you doing, guys?
I'm doing fine.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
Cool, cool. Now, before we start, one note. You'll notice that this isn't a live stream this week. It is being recorded ahead of time. Don't think that will make for better production values. It's purely because I'm not really able to. See, a couple of weeks ago, because we didn't really want to talk about the Saudi Arabia show, I can't even remember the name of, and
I think it was Super Showdown.
Super Showdown, and the week in general wasn't good. Me and Sam did a watch along of God. I hesitate to even use the name. This
Basically, it was a particular movie that had come out very
well,
recently.
I've
We
done an
made
update vlog to explain this. It was a watch along of a movie I just got on Blu-ray. It was a certain animated movie with the initials DBSB.
the point was that we you couldn't hear the movie apart. You could only hear our voices and see us, so you couldn't even see the movie. You could just see us reacting to it effectively,
Yeah, and
and yet somehow
because of that,
that's
but somehow it got copyright struck, and not copyright struck. It was taken down. Didn't copyright, and I have a copyright strike on my channel now, which means I can't live stream until September, and there doesn't seem to be much I can do about it.
ridiculous.
Yeah, short of reaching out to what was it, 3 ants or something directly, but I mean, they, I've never heard of that company, so like I have to assume it's a fraudulent takedown strike, in which case reaching out to them directly is unlikely to do anything. So it looks like we're stuck recording things ahead of time, which means no comments, at least on this channel. I have 2 more outlets I can stream to, but none with the audience or none with the subscriber base that this one has, so that's annoying.
Mm.
Right. Anyway, on to the wrestling. Before we acknowledge WWE this week, we should also acknowledge the sad passing of Lionheart. When he died, he was the current ICW World Champion. He was in his 30s, and we know nothing about the death, only that it happened. And I just thought we should give an acknowledgement to that. I didn't know much about the career of Lionheart. To be honest, the first I saw of him, Joe Hendry was calling him a fanny in one of his entrance videos.
Hmm.
But let's not dwell on the depressing stuff. Rest in peace, Lionheart. I'm gonna check out more of his matches now. Well, not now, obviously, after the podcast, probably. But yeah. So, Raw this week. What are your thoughts, guys?
It was a mixed bag.
Eh.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it still hit me in the feels. Great to see, Heath Slater get beaten up by, Drew McIntyre.
Mhm.
Mainly because I was a fan of 3MB.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that got Jinder over.
I don't think he was even particularly over in that. To be honest, it
No,
was.
he was over by association.
Yeah, I mean, it was the Job Squad by another name, but still,
Mm.
And there was a reference to it on Raw this week, which got a smile out of me. One of the few parts of Raw that did get a smile out of me. Like, I will say though, I actually really enjoyed SmackDown, and for the last couple of weeks, I've been saying the wild card rule has already ruined SmackDown.
Yeah.
So, so it was good that I enjoyed SmackDown. For the love of God, why is Shane McMahon out so bloody much?
Mm. Yeah, the Shane McMahon show is what's slowly hurting WWE at this point.
It's probably the main offender, but it's not the only one. Like,
No, no, no. There's a lot wrong with the show at this point.
yeah. Um. So, right, what are the main points of Raw to talk about?
Well,
Because I
well,
don't
there was
remember much of it.
Ricochet winning the match to face Joe.
Yeah.
You know, that was surprising. Then they had Shane McMahon had his little backstage bit, which I do also like, and I want to comment on the fact that when you look at the Drew McIntyre attacking Heath thing, they come out to like the revival come out to like stop him, like no no no, he's had enough thing, and they're taking the money that Drew was giving him
Yeah, they
and
just
their
slyly
own.
pocket it.
Oh, and then Roman Reigns basically broke through and beat all of them up anyway because they decided to do the cheap heel thing of, oh, I'm going to include your family in some capacity.
Yeah, that's a really overused thing at this point.
It
He
is
talked
overused.
about his family. He acknowledged that he had a family. He must die.
Hmm. Yeah, that's the line you don't cross.
Yeah.
But then, other than that, there's also Bailey and Nikki Cross's thing, which I don't know where that's going.
uh,
Basically, it's that there's tweets about Bailey basically bullying or being mean to people, and Alexa's trying to convince Nikki Cross that Bailey is like this horrible person,
yeah, and
and Bailey's just not buying into it, but she is getting violent, so she's kind of proving Alexa's point or something. Or I think that's what they're trying to get across.
yeah. Um, was it on Raw that this happened, or was it last week on
On Raw,
SmackDown, where
it. Oh,
Ember Moon was minding her own business and I'm blanking on their names at the moment.
Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose.
Yeah, they broke a Nintendo Switch for no reason. Was that on Raw or was it last week on
I think that's
SmackDown?
on I think that was on SmackDown.
Ah, right, right. Okay. Well, we'll get to that then. Uh,
But yeah, basically, the Iconics actually defended their tag team titles against someone who wasn't a nameless team, and
yeah,
unfortunately, Alexa got involved with Bailey and cost Nikki the title.
yeah,
So that became a thing. Also, I think we should also talk about how Seth Rollins is determined to cut down the candidates for special referee in his match against Baron Foreskin. Sorry, Corbin.
that was deliberate.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. Anyway, Seth Rollins has made a point of murdering anyone who even thinks of accepting the position of special guest referee
Rollins is everybody.
by bludgeoning them to death with a chair. I'm speaking hyperbolic, they are still alive, but they might as well not be in the context of the story. Seth Rollins has become the steel chair murderer.
Hey, someone had to make the chair more of a threatening weapon.
Do you remember that encyclopedia article about AJ the Killer Styles?
You mean the one where AJ was given a gimmick in WWE where he was based off a kids' TV show because Vince Russo somehow got hired again, and he got so sick of it because the fans kept trying to kill him and he needed security that he thought maybe this will go away if I somehow, kill Vince Russo with an arc welder, specifically the arc welder.
But that's sort of what it made me think of briefly, like Seth the Killer Rollins. And he has an irrational hatred of special guest referees and murders them by bludgeoning them to death with a chair. Yeah. But his victim list has 3MB, no, not 3MB, the B team. The B team I meant. Yeah, you put 3MB in my brain. uh, um, Elias was the first one. Yeah, he's just basically beating the crap out of anyone who even thinks about accepting. What else happened on Raw?
Lacey Evans continued to be. Oh, I just want to throw this out, and I'm sure Ian will agree with me. Fuck Lacey Evans in general. The bitch sat on one episode of Raw. I didn't notice this until it was pointed out to me. She intentionally sandbagged Bayley's belly to belly.
Okay, I am glad that she doesn't seem to be using that move a lot anymore, because it wasn't really a champion caliber finisher, was it?
But the thing is that it's very
Yeah,
hard.
her
to block belly to
intentionally,
belly.
her intentionally sandbagging her is like, yeah, no, not on.
Be grateful she isn't. She wasn't like Brock Lesnar and had like a powerbomb move, because if she sandbagged it wrong, she could end up with a broken neck like he did.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, quite apart from sandbagging being a dick move, it endangers both you and the person you're working with. Well, depending on circumstance, obviously some moves are more dangerous to sandbag than others, but just why would you?
It's mainly to be a dick. That's really the only answer I can come up with.
It's not worth risking your health. Like, you know, if you sandbag someone intentionally, you're risking injury, whether to yourself or them. I don't care how much you might not like someone, being a dick to them is not worth that risk.
No, it isn't.
Yeah. Well, given that I have to assume that she did it by accident, although even then, that's not a thing that should be happening at this level.
Well, that's another thing I've said for a while, is that Lacey isn't ready for main event, for like television in general.
Yeah. Well, I don't really want to comment on that because, as you know, I only got back in around WrestleMania time. I'd been out of the loop for a while, and after WrestleMania, I wasn't sure who Lacey Evans was, so I can only assume she hadn't been brought up that long ago.
No, I mean, to WWE's credit, they are putting up videos on their YouTube channel of literally what she's done in like all the things she's done. There's not that much really, but you know the other matches she's had.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh. Right, so Raw. We got the 3MB reference, Drew beating up Heath. I don't much like how the bad guys are basically just Shane McMahon's minions. These
I have to agree with
days.
the Miz, the comment that these guys are really talented and they're wasting their time being lumped in with Shane McMahon.
Yeah. I take it you're referring to his promo on SmackDown.
His last week one, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a fact
Is there
that
much to talk about on Raw yet? Can we move on to SmackDown?
Just one small thing
Yeah.
that was fun. Tama Tonga recently made a comment about Triple H and him teaming up with the Club and AJ Styles at a house show.
Oh yeah, you mentioned this.
He says, WWE Japan trying to come in our territory with the Club. Cool story. Get the fuck out of here, bro.
Yeah.
I don't mind me. I'm just stating the obvious. AEW's coming in hard on their territory. And why isn't Finn Balor in the Club? I mean, he literally started it. Am I right? Am I right? They should call it the Bullet Hunter Club, aye? I got mind control over Brother H. He'd be like, shut the fuck up. I'd be quiet, and then he'd leave. I'd be talking again. Japan tripping, man. They want me to ask for the club back. You know I wouldn't trip. Protect your turf, Bullet Club.
Yeah. Okay, so
and as a jab at Roman Reigns, his cousin, who he's threatened to murder on several occasions,
yes,
he called himself
mentioned
the good
several
bad
times.
guy.
Right.
Yes, he's the good bad guy.
Right. Well, if there's nothing else on Raw, because I honestly, if there is, I can't remember for the life of me. Like that, 3 hours is too long. Every week, it's too long. for a
The
weekly
thing is,
show.
they've got 200 plus wrestlers, and they don't give enough of them screen time. Or the more time they've had on Raw, they've given it more time to the people who don't need it.
Yeah. I remember the first 3 hour Raw. I was excited because there was occasionally a 3 hour Raw, like a special, and I enjoyed those. And I thought, oh, this third hour is going to give some new people a chance to get over. The first match was a prolonged squash match between Alberto Del Rio and I believe it was Santino Marella.
Oh,
And it's
fucking
like,
hell, Santino.
oh, so that's what they're going to do with this extra hour. They're just going to, like, they're going to do the same but make it longer. And it really does drag. Especially Raw's tendency to rely on promos and segments rather than matches a lot of the time. At least in comparison to SmackDown. Speaking of which, I really enjoyed SmackDown this week. I was expecting something. I was expecting what we'd got. I was expecting what we'd got the last couple of weeks from SmackDown, in that it was basically a Raw rerun with some new matches in it, and that's why I had been saying that the wildcard rule was already ruining SmackDown, and I was a bit salty about that, but SmackDown was really good this week for me. Like, the opening match was probably the best one.
Oh yeah, did
Uh,
you hear R-Truth lost his 24/7 title?
I watched the show,
Yeah,
so yeah.
where Drake Maverick dressed up like
No,
Carmelo.
no, yeah, that's the thing. I want to get to that. Near the end of the show, uh, well, okay, we can speed through the show to get this. The first match, um, really good one. Uh, oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. I know what the match was, but the names I'm having trouble with at the moment. It's because I know I'm being recorded.
Mm.
Anyway, so Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens are in a tag match with Kofi and Kofi and Seth Rollins. I'm terrible with names this week. I apologize. Um, I believe Daniel Bryan was in the opening match, wasn't he?
Think so.
Yeah, I remember it being good. How can how have I forgotten who his opponent was when I remember it being a good match?
All I remember
No,
of
no, no,
Daniel,
no, 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 no,
all I
no, it
remember of him
wasn't.
this week is
I remember now. Um, the opening match was Dolph Ziggler versus Xavier Woods, and I remember being impressed by how good Xavier Woods looks because he's mostly just used as like the third man of the New Day. So it was really nice to see him put up such a good showing against Dolph Ziggler, who is the number one contender. And here's the thing: that whole opening segment as well, it felt like a throwback to a classic wrestling show. Because Dolph Ziggler was doing his "It Should Have Been Me" thing, which you've mentioned Edge did in like 2004, but it doesn't matter because it's still good. And
Edge's whole thing, his thing was based around the fact that he had just finished his tag team run, and he was saying, "Look, the thing is, I've held the tag team titles 10 times. I'm done with that. I want to move on to something better." And then Taboo Tuesday happened, and Shawn Michaels got voted into the match, and he gets screaming, "It should have been me!" So he screwed Shawn Michaels out of the match,
yeah,
and he
well,
just made it.
okay, it's a similar thing.
It should have been me.
It's a similar thing. Yeah, I grant you that. I wish they were giving this feud more attention and weight than it's being given, because it is good, but you just know that Dolph does not pose a threat to Kofi's title reign. Like, narratively, they're already looking past him, because Kevin Owens is saying, if you beat Dolph Ziggler, I'm your next opponent. Like, no, you shouldn't do that. A champion should treat his next opponent as, prime obstacle, because they are. And they're already looking past Dolph Ziggler. He is demonstrably a placeholder obstacle for Kofi to overcome. And
Yeah,
that's a shame, because like
Dolph is good. Dolph is very good.
He's doing really well in this feud, and it's my favourite part of both shows at the moment. And he had a great match with Xavier Woods. And, you know, Xavier Woods, man, like, people, I think, or at least, it might be easy. Sorry, let me start again. It's probably easy to overlook Xavier Woods because he's in a stable with Kofi Kingston, the mega popular white hot right now WWE champion, and Big E, who is Big E. Enough said.
Look, just remember that usually when someone becomes a champion, tag teams like the New Day don't usually last, and that they
Yeah.
have. The only other thing that has done it like this in recent memory would be things like Japan's Bullet Club or WCW's NWO,
If you
where
wanted to,
someone became.
I mean, if
Yeah,
you
you'd
wanted
have
a
to go back.
WWE example, you might have to go back to Evolution, but they were a heel faction, so it's even then it's not the same thing.
What about DX?
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, you could go because again, they didn't turn on Shawn when he won the WWE title. Although when Triple H won the WWE title, he basically disposed of DX whenever he could.
Yeah. But yeah, I apologize. I can't believe I forgot who was in that opening match that I thought was really good. And then
I suppose now's not a good time to tell you that apparently Ricochet's nudes have leaked online.
I don't care. Like, I mean, why did he put them on the cloud for them to be hacked? I assume that's what happened. I don't know. I'm not practiced in, you know, sending nudes to people. But it's like, I mean, it's a gross invasion of privacy. Like, I think that's the angle we've got to go with here. Don't hack people's nudes. You know, it's a dick thing to do. No pun intended.
But I should point this out you got to remember, Raw happened on my daughter's birthday, so I didn't get to see it.
Oh yes,
But then I came
Nicole
back
is
on
one.
Tuesday. I will mention on Monday, one of the things I did show when I did catch up on Raw that we did forget to talk about was Firefly Funhouse's really weird message.
Ah, yeah, the whole join us thing, wasn't it?
It was the follow the leader thing, the
Ah,
power thing.
right.
Then she suddenly noticed the heavy machinery because it turns out my mother-in-law is from the same place as Otis.
Superior, Wisconsin.
Yes. She was as confused as I was and laughing at the caterpillar.
I see.
When they beat up the B team, then she watched as Seth Rollins came out and murdered the B team with a chair.
Yeah. With gusto.
Also, they're still calling Asuka and Kairi Sane the Kabuki Warriors, by the way.
That's still dumb.
They're sending,
like,
when they go to Tokyo for a big show, they're facing the Iconics, apparently.
yeah. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I did like the little. They made fun of the Iconics by stealing a catchphrase, mocking their pose. I thought that was fun. Please don't ruin Kairi Sane, and please unruin Asuka. Like, you know.
Yeah, and of course, fuck Sonya Deville and Mandy Rose, the people who were so boring. I want to point out these two were so boring that in their feud with Asuka, Vince cancelled their feud just to give the title to Charlotte, just to end the damn thing.
Yeah. Didn't they, like, yeah, they broke Ember Moon's Nintendo Switch, which, you know, dick move, guys. Like, the console is replaceable, but the data on it, the hours possibly tens to hundreds of hours of data on it is not. Because Nintendo don't let you back up all of your save files for some bizarre reason. That only certain ones.
It kind of makes you miss the old-fashioned memory cards.
Oh, you can get, like, SanDisk SD cards for the Switch. I bought one from CEX and it didn't bloody work. It won't let me download apps to it. So I'm going to need to buy another one. But anyway, yeah, dick move. You do not smash someone's Nintendo Switch. And the thing they said, they were offering a donuts and said, oh, we were just trying to give you a healthier way to spend your time instead of playing video games and reading books and rotting your brain. That was a sentence that was used. Reading books and rotting your brain.
Actually, reading books is good for you.
Yeah, this is like... I mean, a person who said that has clearly never read a book in their life. But I don't blame them for that. They probably didn't write that line. Everything's
Yeah.
so tightly controlled in WWE from everything we've heard. You know, but it is a dumb line. Yeah.
It's depressing, but it's sadly true.
Yeah. And yep, there was a brawl, all good. She should have attacked them right away upon the switch being broken instead of just standing back and screaming, because it's like, that's just what? I mean, what is that supposed to get across? I don't know. I don't get the point of some segments in wrestling sometimes. I don't think the people who write them do. But anyway, yeah, then Shane McMahon comes out, because of course he bloody does. And then I remember that, oh yeah, the wild card rule is a thing, so SmackDown's not allowed to be good anymore. But then The Miz comes out and actually cuts a decent promo. Now, I've been on record as saying I don't buy babyface Miz. For that moment, I kind of did. For that moment, he came across as a good babyface. Now, whether or not he can do that consistently remains to be seen. And then there was...
He has never been the Miz's forte.
Yeah. But I still think he'd be better as a heel. But and then there was an impromptu reunion of the Awesome Truth. And was that really 7 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like, is it a rule now that the 24/7 title, like, 24/7 rule isn't in effect while the champion's in a match? Or is that just a thing that they did twice in a row?
I think that WWE just don't give a shit anymore.
Yeah. The rule applies unless they don't want it to.
Look, they gave up on the 24/7 title like a week after they made it.
Well, I've actually been more consistently entertained by the 24/7 title stuff than possibly anything else that's been on the main shows in the last, since it was created. And then Shelton Benjamin just goes and snatches the title because, like, apparently he didn't understand that you still need to pin the champion to get the title. And it's...
Oh, they've got Shelton Benjamin still there?
I think it was Shelton Benjamin. I'm pretty sure it was Shelton Benjamin, but yeah, he was still there. He was one of those that was being interviewed for the position of special guest referee as well. Although I don't entirely remember whether or not Seth Rollins murdered him. The B team were openly enthusiastic about accepting, whereas Shelton Benjamin seemed a lot more apprehensive.
Do you think he got into bed in his hotel room and then as lightning flashed, conveniently Seth just appeared in the light holding a chair?
Standing over him. Hello, Shelton.
And then suddenly he opens his eyes and you just hear, and then the chair's smacking on him.
Ain't no stopping me now.
Been stopped.
He hasn't had that in his theme song for years.
R-Truth tried to escape the arena.
Yeah, and then, oh my god, and then he sees Carmella outside like an Uber car, but it's not Carmella, it's Drake Maverick in a wig. And he pins him using the car as leverage for the title and then steals the referee's car and drives off.
And R-Truth is still confused. He still thinks it's Carmella.
Yeah.
Asking why Carmella's getting married and why she didn't invite him.
Oh, that is... and this is why I've been more consistently entertained by the 24/7 title stuff than, like, R-Truth is a legit comedy wrestler when he's trying to be. Like, even when he had his brief main event run, he was funny.
Oh, yeah.
I mean...
if you're wondering what happened to Jinder Mahal's associates...
Yeah.
They're on 205 Live now as the Singh brothers because they're not allowed to call themselves the Bollywood Boys anymore.
Why not?
I don't know. I think it was like a name. I think it varies. Sometimes they're called the Bollywood Boys. Other times they're just called the Singh brothers. It varies.
Right, of course. Um, and then the main event happened. I don't think anything else. Oh yeah, Bailey drank Alexa Bliss's coffee, and she's being kind of cocky for a babyface, wouldn't you say?
Is it funny? Is this conveniently happening after Cody Rhodes did his whole statement on how Bailey isn't a nice person?
Uh, well, he didn't outright say it. He just heavily implied that that was the case.
But he implied that she wasn't a nice. She was a fake human being and wasn't really as nice as she said she was. He never called her by name, but he made clear it was her.
Yeah. Well, no one's as nice as they say they are, Sam. Not even me, and I openly admit to being an asshole.
No, he specifically said that she
Nah.
was all fake.
Yeah. I've never openly admitted to being an asshole. I kind of think that defeats the purpose of self-awareness.
Mm.
Oh, that's the thing, apropos of nothing, that annoys me about pop culture these days. Because it so often conflates being intelligent with being an asshole, there are people who now act like assholes to seem intelligent. And it annoys me.
Oh, and what the fuck is happening with Alistair Black?
I'm not sure. I mean, I hope they do something with him.
Open it, screaming, "The door is open!"
I mean, he's not wrong.
No, it's right, but look, I know people are saying that certain characters need to shit and get off the pot. This is especially true of Bray Wyatt's thing, which I fucking love.
I do love it, but I wish they'd do something with him already.
Well, I think we're getting to that because it's getting closer and closer.
Yeah. I mean,
I think the Fiend
WWE has a concerning habit of waiting too long to capitalize on something. Like, I mean, I remember feeling not as excited as I would have been. Like, do you remember back in 2009, I think it was, when Jeff Hardy first won the WWE title? I know for a fact I would have been a lot more excited if that had happened a couple of months sooner. Yeah. And, you know, they do that a lot. They just wait too long to capitalize on something.
I mean, Ian, what do you think?
To be honest, I'm not really that catched up this week.
Shit.
I can't say as I blame you, but SmackDown was worth watching.
SmackDown was better than it has been.
Yeah, like, I mean, SmackDown was always my favourite ever since the brand split. Sorry, slip of the tongue. I said bland split.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. Well, SmackDown was always my favourite show since the brand split because there's a great... Well, first of all, it's shorter and it doesn't drag on like Raw does.
Oh, and NXT has debuted a new character who reminds me a bit of Brian Deadly.
Right.
All right.
His name's Damian Priest.
Oh.
I see. Yeah. But,
NXT debuting... Hell, do you remember DJZ from TNA?
The name rings a bell, but I can't place.
His name was also Zema
to.
Ion.
Ah, yes, I do remember him.
He's joined WWE now. He's on NXT.
Yeah. So, alright, I think we've gone through the noteworthy parts of the shows to talk about, which leaves one thing. Stomping Ground predictions. Sorry, Ian, you were saying?
Oh, I was just about to mention that WWE has announced a new movie.
Oh, yeah. I wanted you to tell me about that before we start recording. Yeah, what is this?
It's called Main Event.
Yeah.
And it's about a young boy who finds a mysterious mask, puts it on, and he becomes like a wrestler. And he starts, and then he joins the WWE.
I'm intrigued, possibly morbidly.
Yeah.
Why do I get the feeling this is basically the story mode from TNA Impact?
It may well be.
It could be like the Last Action Hero, but with wrestlers.
Is the wrestler that he becomes when he puts the mask on going to debut as a character soon after the movie comes out on the actual main roster?
Well,
maybe it's going to be Dominic.
Maybe.
well, this is what I have about it.
Or Nicholas.
Yeah. Well, okay. They're teaming up with Netflix to do it.
Oh wow.
I see.
Yeah, and it's going to star Kofi Kingston,
Hmm.
The Miz,
Right.
and Sheamus. And
I am morbidly fascinated by this. Do go on.
yeah, and the main character is going to be played by 11-year-old Seth Carr, who had previously featured in Black Panther.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. The main story tells of an 11-year-old boy, wannabe wrestler, who discovers a magical mask and enters a competition to become the next WWE superstar. Filming has begun in Vancouver, Canada. The main event should be on Netflix in 2020.
Well,
Oh well, Glow's got some competition.
watch
Yeah.
along when that comes out, guys.
And according to this is supposed to be a family-friendly film.
So we're not going to have Triple H turn up and hit the kid in the face with a sledgehammer
No.
and just go, "I knew it."
No.
But you know what they need to do? He needs to debut like the Shockmaster.
Ah.
Yeah, man.
All right. So, Stomping Grounds is this Sunday, I believe. Tomorrow. So, predictions, guys. Let's go down the card. I've got the Wikipedia page with the card up right here. Number one on the table thing is the SmackDown Women's Title match: Bayley versus Alexa Bliss. Who have you got and why?
Bayley, because they need a bit more context as to how far this is going. They haven't really developed what is actually happening with Bayley yet. So I assume that Bayley's going to win via some degree of shenanigans. Somehow Nikki Cross is going to be involved.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to further the storyline to the next real pay-per-view.
Yeah. That's one thing I don't really like about Stomping Grounds is it's being treated as a footnote by its own company. Like, if WWE don't care, why should we? Like,
footnote, stomp.
yeah. Ian, who have you got and why?
Personally, I think Bayley will do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Okay,
I mean, I'm not particularly confident about Alexa Bliss.
yeah, the story just isn't there, is it?
Yeah.
I
think the story is more that Alexa is using Nikki as a means to an end.
Yeah, well, Alexa doesn't really have much going for herself.
She doesn't really do much of anything.
Well, didn't she retire not too long ago? I mean, she was good when she was like a full-time competitor. Although I've got Bayley just because of one simple fact: Alexa Bliss is on Raw. Yeah, and it's the SmackDown Women's title. So, not that I imagine they care, but I think I also think that the narrative just isn't there for Alexa Bliss to win, and if she did win, it would be like a swerve for the sake of a swerve, and they don't tend to do those anymore.
I mean, is she still doing the Harley Quinn thing?
Alexa Bliss,
not
so much.
Not really.
Okay, so we've all got Bayley for the SmackDown Women's title match. All good. Right. Interesting. Number 2, Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre.
I want Drew to win.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing we're going to get another Roman win.
I agree. Roman has lost his last 2 big matches, hasn't he? Unless I'm much mistaken. Like, by law of averages, he's got to win this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what annoys me is his last 2 big matches were against Shane McMahon, and he's going to beat Drew McIntyre after losing twice to Shane. That doesn't help. Like, the whole thing with Shane McMahon has not helped anyone in my estimation.
He's become the new Stephanie McMahon.
Yeah. Ian, what do you think?
I'm going to go with Drew.
Oh, all right.
Ooh,
Okay. Do tell.
Mostly because Roman and Vince are on pretty bad terms, and so Vince will do everything he can to see Roman get crushed.
Interesting angle. Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, shall we take down who's predicting what, and I don't know, if there is a winner of the three of us of getting the most results right.
okay.
All right, I tell you what. Shall we have a forfeit for whoever gets the least number of predictions right, like what the Cultaholic guys do?
Yeah, let's do that.
Right, what is the forfeit going to be for the loser of this prediction contest? I mean, it has to be something we can realistically do and show on YouTube. So, um,
Hmm. Hard to say.
Hmm.
let's see. Um,
I was going to say if Ian loses, he can't keep doing the whole SJ. He has to admit that SJ is Aislinn Murdust and not the same person.
no, no. Let's see. What would be a forfeit that we could do?
Admit that one of us has a stupid name.
Oh, hold on. I'll tell you what. We'll wait until the pay-per-view happens, and
Yeah,
then
'cause I've
the
got an
two.
idea that one of us. I've got an idea that one of us streams something that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and then
Stream.
the two of us that don't lose decide on a punishment for the loser.
Yeah, that actually works better.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Right. So match 3: Becky Lynch versus Lacey Evans. I will be very shocked if any of us disagree on this one. But guys, who have you got and why?
I got Becky mainly because Lacey has been a fuck up since she came up. She has been all bark and no bite in general in terms of a character. Her finisher has been shown to have no effect in some case, only in certain cases. And the last few pay-per-views and last few matches she's had, she's either won because she pinned someone else, or she tapped out very quickly. She hasn't really been shown to be any kind of threat, and her entire character is a throwback joke. I really
Yeah.
just think it really seems like her entire character is a joke, and she's the only one that doesn't get it.
I got Becky Lynch just because I just can't see Lacey Evans winning. I just don't. The momentum just isn't there in any way.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Ian?
Becky Lynch.
Yep. Basically the
Because
same
Becky
reasons that. Sorry?
I choose her because Becky Lynch.
Yeah, because Becky Lynch. That's reason enough.
Hmm.
Okay, so we're unanimous on 2 of the 3 so far, so this prediction contest is starting to look a little bit irrelevant. Okay, Universal title match, Seth Rollins, Baron Corbin.
You see, the referee's going to be a biggest thing there.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it out there and say that I see Seth winning.
Yeah. Now, the prediction is who's going to win the match, not necessarily the title. So,
I'd still say Seth.
Yeah, it's possible Baron Corbin could win by DQ, but I'm still going to go with Seth, just because I can't envision Baron Corbin winning. I can't see him as champion. I can't see him as getting any kind of a win over Seth other than a DQ or count out win, and even count out is at a stretch. I just can't see it. Ian, what do you reckon?
I'm going to go with Seth.
Yeah, Seth. We are unanimous. We all predict that Seth Winnings will roll his title match tomorrow night. The WWE title match: Kofi Kingston versus Dolph Ziggler. Who have you got and why?
I say Kofi, again, purely because while Dolph is the first major real challenger to his title, I just don't see Dolph winning, mainly because Dolph's entire thing is that he's,
He feels like just like a bump in the road, doesn't he?
he's literally a speed bump and nothing more.
I will preface this by saying I've loved everything about Kofi Kingston's title reign so far. They've gone from strength to strength. They've not given him a bad opponent, and I include Dolph Ziggler in that. I think everything has been done really well, but they're just not giving this match the gravity that a title change would have. So, and I really
No,
don't. It's not.
now,
It's not the right time for Kofi to lose. He hasn't had it long enough, in my opinion. But even if he had, with this feud exactly as it's been built up, I just can't see Dolph winning.
hmm.
Yeah. Ian, what do you reckon?
Well, I'm going to go with Kofi
Yeah.
because he's on a roll. He's on a roll. It's too early for him to lose, at this point.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so we're unanimous in all but one so far. Sam, sorry, you were going to say something, weren't you?
I was going to say, what about Brock Lesnar cashing in?
Right. I think. Okay. If one of us predicts that he will at a certain point in the pay per view, and we get it right, that is.
I predict if he's going to cash it in at all, he'll do it in the middle of the. He'll turn up during the the Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin match. He'll destroy both Baron Corbin and Seth, then hit the F5 on Seth.
Right. I'm gonna say something now. If I get this right, that's an extra 5 points for me. You can agree or disagree after I've told you.
Okay.
Brock Lesnar is the special guest referee.
Okay, that actually makes some sense.
If I get that right, that's an extra 5 points to me. What do you say?
Okay.
And also, if he cashes in when you said he will, repeat that, Sam, and that'll be another.
Basically, if he cashes in, if he just if he does become the referee, let's say he is,
Yeah.
he'll call it for a while, but then just get bored, hit the F5 on
No.
both
What was
men.
your first prediction about him cashing in?
I thought he'd cash in, cause the DQ.
Yeah, and then yeah.
So yeah, for whoever. Then when he does it, he'll try and take down Seth. But I feel that because of the way Brock is, I get the feeling he'll try and cash in, and then the second he actually does cash it in, something will happen, whether it be Baron Corbin getting back up, or Seth will just reverse the F5, hit the curb stomp, pin him, and just that'll mean, because they seem to have this habit of making the Money in the Bank briefcase mean nothing in the end.
Yeah. So Ian, do you have any predictions on Brock Lesnar and his involvement, if any, with this pay-per-view?
Not really.
It doesn't.
I'm not saying. I'm not saying he will show up, and I'm not saying he won't.
It doesn't seem like the kind of pay-per-view where he would, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But I do.
They are desperate to sell tickets. That's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Okay. Right. Here's a match I'm honestly not sure about. United States title: Samoa Joe versus Ricochet. Who have you got and why?
I say Samoa Joe.
Okay. Why?
Because it's Joe, and to be fair, they took the belt off him in an illegitimate way.
Yeah.
That I feel like they won't let Ricochet have the belt yet.
Yeah, that's sound reasoning. What? Okay, Ian, what do you think?
Again, I'm gonna go with Joe. Because big guy and all that.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. I I'm gonna put it on the line and go for Ricochet
Okay.
because it's exactly the kind of thing they might try and surprise you with to get you talking about the event. Because they don't care about the United States title, and we know they don't.
Mm.
So, but they like to pretend that they do. So this is exactly the kind of swerve that they might throw in for the sake of it to try and get you talking. So I'm gonna say Ricochet.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, the next match, the New Day, Big E and Xavier Woods versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Tag team match. Player, who you got and why?
What were the options again?
The New Day versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
I've got the New Day over Zayn and Zayn and Owens.
All right, reasoning, please.
They've been hinting at Seth Owens and Zayn leaving SmackDown,
Yeah.
and they just seem to. And Big E is only just returned, so
Yeah,
you know.
he does have the recent return buff behind him. Yeah. So, Ian, what do you think of this?
I'm going to take a chance and say Kevin Owens and the other guy.
Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the bitch. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, why is that?
Why? Because oh god, what was the reason again? Well, just for a swerve, I guess.
Yeah. I am gonna side with Ian in this one and say Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Okay.
It just they've just been getting more screen time than the New Day without Kofi, than Big E and Xavier Woods lately, and mostly that has been due to the fact that Big E hasn't been there. But I don't know. I don't see them giving. I mean, a lot of these are obviously babyface winning matches. Your Baileys, your Becky Lynch, your Seth Rollins, your Kofi Kingston. I just don't see them giving that lopsided a babyface night. So I'm going to go with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn because they're going to want to try and troll the fans a bit at least once.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't know whether they would give both wins to the New Day for that reason. So I'm going to guess Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, but I think either could take it. Yeah. Okay, now, I know nothing about this next match. Triple threat match for the Cruiserweight title, Tony Nese versus Akira Tozawa and versus Drew Gulak. Right.
I'm going to say Tony Nese is going to retain.
Alright. Ian, what do you reckon? I'm not going to ask why, because I'm not going to get your reasoning anyway.
Well, I don't really know any of them.
Alright, just pick one. Tell you what.
You know what? I'm gonna say the other guy.
Akira Tozawa or Drew Gulak?
Akira.
You're going to take Akira Tozawa. You know what? I'm going to take Drew Gulak.
Ooh.
This will be interesting.
Yeah, I know nothing about this match, but two of us are going to lose out on a point for it. And finally, the WWE SmackDown Tag Team title match. Daniel Bryan and Rowan versus Heavy Machinery.
I'm going to say Heavy Machinery.
Okay, why is that?
I think Daniel is in one of those positions where he can afford the loss and he's kind of okay. I think he's kind of okay with that. But also, there isn't really much SmackDown competition in terms of the tag team division now that the Usos have buggered off.
Right.
So I think that I actually think that I'm just going to take a risk on heavy machinery.
I see. Ian, what do you reckon?
I'm gonna go with heavy machinery, mainly because I don't know much about it.
Okay. I'm going to go with Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan because it's Daniel Bryan. They're going to want to keep him, you know, as a prominent figure. And Heavy
Oh,
Machinery are quite
updating
new.
news.
Yeah?
R-Truth has gained the 24/7 championship at Drake Maverick's wedding.
Oh. Oh, brilliant. Okay. Let's I'm gonna have a look at that when the podcast is over. Ah. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Daniel Bryan and Rowan because I don't think Heavy Machinery have been around for long enough. But they might. I acknowledge that they might have like an early win of the titles to cement themselves. But also Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan are quite a formidable presence, especially Daniel Bryan, and they're gonna want to keep him on the mic. So, although
Yeah,
maybe that would be a reason to get him away from the tag team titles, who knows? But I am gonna bet on them for now. So remember or write down your predictions. We were mostly unanimous until the United States title match, apart from Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. Um,
Hmm.
Sam and I went for Roman, Ian went for Drew, but we all agree that Bayley will retain, Becky Lynch will retain, Seth Rollins will retain, although I get 5 points if Brock Lesnar is the special guest referee. And Sam gets five. Oh, Sam gets 5 points if he cashes in. And shall we say Ian gets 5 points if neither of those things happen?
yeah.
Right, so that'll be the wild card match. Whoever wins that will probably win the prediction contest, to be honest.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, shall we say 3 points? Just to make it a bit of a more even
Okay.
thing. And then, we've all got Kofi to retain. You two have Samoa Joe. I've got Ricochet to win the US title. Sam has the New Day, and I think me and Ian had Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. We've all got different people for the Cruiserweight title match. I got Drew Gulak. Ian has Akira Tozawa. Sam has Tony Nese. Honestly, Sam, I think you're going to take that one, but I'm sticking with my choice.
I respect that.
And I got Daniel Bryan and Rowan, and you guys have Heavy Machinery. So those are our predictions for tomorrow's pay-per-view event. I would
All right.
say, I would ask if you wanted to do a watch-along, but we can't stream. Oh no, I could do it on Twitch and then just export it after the fact. But
Oh, I was thinking it's like maybe later. You would you guys like to see me stream my new game?
oh, all right, cool. What do you got?
Oh,
It's called World End Syndrome.
Interesting.
Yeah,
hmm.
it's a horror game.
Oh, sweet.
Very interesting. So, now that we're ending the podcast anyway, where can people go to watch you do that?
Well, you can watch me do that at Within the Grey Walls, where I'll do other things like play old Sega games, play some old Disney games, and also catch up on some Spider-Man DLC.
All right, and oh, it's on the image in the video anyway. But never mind, Sam. Where can people find more of you?
Well, you can find me on Murasaki's Pit, where I'm going to be doing some DHPW stuff soon, but I've also just downloaded Ace Attorney,
Cool.
and depending on how the week goes, I may also have either Bloodstained Ritual of the Night to do, or Judgment.
Ah,
We'll see how-
Judgment. I'm looking forward to that. Sorry, I'm excited.
You're excited. The guy actually does Will Ospreay's Essex Destroyer as a move.
Nice.
That's fucking awesome.
I've heard brilliant things about Judgment, and I am very excited.
Mm.
um, so yeah, you can find me right here, Ollie Johnson, in all of the places. Also, Ollie Games, it's a related channel on this. Thanks for listening. We will see you whenever we decide to stream again, or, well, I'll see you next time.
We'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.